Well, good afternoon and good evening, everybody. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this exciting presentation by Railbookers of Canadian Rockies and beyond. I am thrilled you have dedicated a little bit of your time this evening or this afternoon, depending on your time zone, to watch this presentation of the Canadian Rockies. My name is Kyle Smith, and I am your host today. I'm the Business Development Manager here at Railbookers, and it is my honor to spend some time with you to talk about one of our top booking destinations and a destination that a lot of people are interested in right now, hence why we decided to do this webinar presentation. Before we get started here, I'd like to do a quick mic check to make sure you guys can all hear me and see my screen. So if that's the case, go ahead and go into the GoToWebinar box under questions and give me a yes or a no. That way I know you can see and hear me clearly. That would be great. And I'll give you a moment to do just that. Looks like a lot of yeses are starting to pour in here. And our numbers are climbing right now with attendees. So if you're just now logging in, we started this maybe 15 seconds ago, so you have not missed anything. And I appreciate the mic check there. And I'm glad you can join us with me today. And so before we really get started, though, if you have a pen and paper handy, I would encourage you to take note of our reservations telephone number at the bottom of your screen at 888-829-3040. And our travel consultants are standing by and will be more than happy to put your clients or put your dream vacation on paper for you. And if you would like to download the free handouts, I would encourage you to do that as well, with our top 2020 destinations and a pamphlet for Via Rail Vacations. Now, since this webinar is done live, I will have some time at the end of the presentation to do some Q&A. I would love to talk with you further about where else you're looking to travel and any concerns that you may have. Now, just a little bit about who we are as an organization, but Railbookers is a part of the Yankee Leisure Group Incorporated, which is the largest independently owned private tour operator that specializes in worldwide rail vacations. And we do this through a number of different brands. The first one is Amtrak Vacations. Now, that's one of our most popular brands that we own, as our organization is the official tour operator for Amtrak. And we offer wonderful vacation packages to the national parks, Yellowstone, Glacier National Park, the Grand Canyon certainly come to mind, as well as our major metropolitan cities, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, New Orleans, Washington, D.C., and New York City, where we do a lot of hotel packages. So with everything going on right now, with the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of customers are telling us that they want to stay closer to home. That was definitely the consensus from our first two sessions today, that may be something to look at. I do know Amtrak is going to be moving forward with a lot of different coronavirus pandemic policies that they're going to be putting into place about cleanliness on the trains and social distancing and all that sort of stuff. And so more on that later. And so if you're looking to do a USA rail vacation, look no further than Amtrak Vacations. Yankee Holidays won't mean much to anything to you. That is our founding brand. It's still in existence today, mainly for travel agents within the travel agent sector of our industry. But our international brand is Railbookers, offering worldwide independent rail vacations to Europe, Canada, Asia, Australia, and South Africa. And these are the 2020, 2021 brochures that are available for you right now by going on our website at railbookers.com, and you can get an online brochure emailed out to you right now. Now, today's presentation is all about Via Rail Vacations with Railbookers, and so we have a dedicated brochure for that, as well as Eurostar Vacations and Trenitalia Vacations for Italy. So I would encourage you to request a copy of each one to have for your records in case you're looking to maybe return to Europe in the sometime distant future. Now, why travelers love Railbookers, and I'll touch on these key points as we go through our presentation today, but we're able to fulfill your bucket list experiences. So whether you're looking to travel through the Canadian Rockies by rail or go across country to the great landscapes of Switzerland, wherever your travel desires may want to take you, we can fulfill your bucket list experiences. We have a flexible booking policy right now with freedom and flexibility. And of course, the train is the scenic way to travel. Now, one thing you're going to have with us is 24-hour support from our global offices. So we're located conveniently in Southern California, Boston, Massachusetts, Toronto, the UK, as well as Sydney, Australia. And so if you were to be traveling with us in the future, you had a question about something, you can give us a call, and our team is here to assist you and give you that white glove experience that you're certainly entitled to from the moment you inquire to booking to receiving your documentation and heading out onto your trip. You will be fully supported by Railbookers. Now, our flexibility offer is really generous right now. It's super easy to work with us. For any new reservations, you can change or cancel the travel dates up until 5 days prior to departure, and you will not take on any change or cancellation fees. You'll be issued a travel credit that is valid for 24 months. So let's say you made a reservation today. Next week, the situation changes for you. You need to cancel. Not a problem. You can do that. You'll get a travel credit that'll be good for 2 years, and you can book at any time. And the travel credits can also be used on any of our brands. So if you booked a European trip with us, but you'd like to travel to Canada or stay in the United States, you can use that for Railbookers Canada or for Amtrak vacations. It's totally up to you. Now here is the Canadian Rail Network map, and as you can see here, the Via Rail goes all over Canada. Via Rail's Canada's official national train service. It's their Amtrak in other words. And we offer a variety of different vacation packages through the Canadian Rockies along the red horizontal line. That will be Via Rail's Canadian line, the most scenic route that they offer from Vancouver to Toronto in 3 days each direction. And now we also have vacation packages that'll go through the Northeast corridor. So if you're looking to do the Maritimes fall foliage tours out of Toronto to head up through Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City, and Halifax, we can honor and do all of that as well. So if the train goes there in Canada, then so do we. Now, I do want to highlight the European Rail Network map because Europe is one of our largest destinations that we book, although lately that's not been the situation. But overall, Europe is what it's all about when it comes to rail. Now, you see all those different rail colors? That represents all the high-speed rail companies that exist in Europe, and the majority of them go international. So the questions we'll get from customers are, where do the trains go? Where do they connect? And how am I going to get from, let's say, London to Paris to Italy to Germany all in one rail shot? Is that even possible? Well, yes to the above, because the rail goes just about anywhere throughout Europe. And if the train goes there, then so do we. Now, rail is one of those things a lot of people don't logistically understand. The majority of people know what a train is. You've probably been on one in some time in your life, but do you know how often the trains depart out of your home station for Amtrak? Do you know how far you can go before you have to get off and change lines? Most people don't understand all that. Rail really is a mystery, but everybody knows what it is at the same time. It's kind of funny. Now, compared to the airlines, majority of people know the airline system. So let me ask you a question. If I were to ask you how long it would take to fly from, let's say, New York JFK to Los Angeles, California, everybody knows roughly how long that would take and what a round trip ticket would likely cost you. But what if I asked, how long would it take to go from New York City to Los Angeles round trip? How long would it be each way? And what would a round trip ticket cost for 2 people? Majority of the people really have no idea. In fact, let me ask you that question. Does anybody want to take a guess on how long it would take to take the Amtrak from New York to LA and what that cost would be for 2 people. Anybody want to take a guess? All right, I'm seeing 7 days, okay, 11 days, 2 days, and looks like for costs, I'm seeing $800, I'm seeing $400, $2,000. Okay, yeah, you guys are all kind of right in the right in that frame of Ryan right there. The closest one to get it correct would be Lisa at 3 days at maybe $3,000. That's about right. So that would actually be 3 nights going from New York to LA in each direction, and about 3 grand could be the cost for round trip with a basic sleeper. That's kind of what I'm factoring in there. So good job. Absolutely. Well, most people don't realize that. So that is why rail is one of those mysterious ways of travel. But I will tell you this, it's definitely the most scenic. Now, if you'd like a copy of the rail network map for Canada or for Europe, request our Via Rail Vacations brochure as well as our generic one, and you can have that. All right, so moving on here. Now, one thing we can offer you that nobody else in the industry can is a 2-year booking window when it comes to rail. We have direct partnerships with all the rail operators all over the world. So Via Rail, Deutsche Bahn for Germany, the Trenitalia in Italy, just to name a few. Obviously, our very own Amtrak. And so especially in Europe, rail is not available to the public until about a month before your departure date. So leaving you a very small window to secure your train. Now, if you're booking just a one-way train ticket, that may not be a big deal. But if you're going to be utilizing the train to go from city to city, country to country, a larger booking window is going to make sense for you because of supply and demand, which certainly comes into play when it comes to rail travel. So we're going to be able to give you the full fares and schedules 2 years in advance, and we're basically a one-stop shopping source. And that leads to the next question we get: what exactly do you offer? So here at Railbookers, we do full-on vacation packages that are no different than any other vacation package you may have booked in the past. We include the confirmed seat reservations. So whether you're looking to stay in just the west coast of Canada, go across country, or multiple countries throughout Europe, we will handle your rail seat reservations. We include hotel accommodations, and we range anywhere between 3, 4, and 5-star rated properties that are city center. So if you are traveling with us, you're not going to have to go out of your way to get to a hotel, and you're going to be in the city center. Most of our hotels are just a few minutes away from the train station by taxi, and or you can simply walk. So you're not going to have to go out of your way to get to your hotel. And that's one of the main benefits. We also include sightseeing activities. So we offer the most popular activities throughout the major cities that we offer. I'll go through that more in detail as I show you our Canadian packages. But just to give you a quick example, in Paris, for example, we book a lot of the day trips out to Normandy for people that would like to see that. Or in Rome, when people are visiting Italy, we'll include the skip the line tours. So you can get into the main attractions like the Colosseum and the Sistine Chapel, so you're not having to wait in line all day long. We can also include ferries and transfers, additional excursions, and any overnight rail journeys. And we'll get more into that as we continue on here. Now, we know because we go, so you're getting real rail expertise when you work with us. Each year, we send our team members across the globe to experience our top destinations and all the most popular trains that we book on a daily basis. So Via Rail would be no exception to that. I led a familiarization trip through Canada a couple of years ago. We had a wonderful time, learned a lot about the Via Rail, hence why I was asked to do this webinar today. And I will certainly bring the train alive to you throughout our presentation as I'll go through the different accommodations on board the train. But when you speak to our consultants, they're going to be able to give you the ins and out of rail travel and tell you about those things that you may not have considered when planning your next vacation. Here's a couple of photos on the trip a couple of years ago on the train there. That's the dining car on board the Via Rail, and the land picture I'm pictured in here is in between Jasper and Lake Louise on a small detour we did. So definitely a lot of fresh air, and it was an unforgettable experience. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce you guys to our top trending packages right now for Canada. And the first one is going to be the Quebec City and Halifax, from Montreal. Now, this is a great package if you're looking to check out the Maritimes fall foliage tour that generally runs between the month of August and September. And now this route you can do at any time of the year, but a lot of travelers want to see it during the fall foliage. The changing of the colors is absolutely spectacular throughout the northeast part of Canada. Now, this journey is going to begin in Montreal as a starting point. So that'll be getting on board the train and making your way to Quebec City, which is just a few hours away. Upon arrival into Quebec City, you will stay 2 nights in this grand Paris-type city. It's the modern-day Paris, in other words. The city is known for its French architecture, its French cuisine, and a lot of French-speaking people. So you're going to feel like you're in Paris, and you never have to leave our continent, which is really good. And so while you're in Quebec City, you're going to do a sightseeing tour, which will be by motor coach. It kind of looks like a San Francisco trolley tour if you've ever been on that. And you will zip around the city and see a lot of the French architecture and the major hot spots of this particular city. And of course, you're going to have plenty of downtime after the tour to go back to the local hotspots or just roam the city on your own, which is a lot of fun. We can also give you guys a lot of different ideas of what to do. There's a lot of free attractions there as well. But the key is this is independent travel. So you're not with an escorted tour group. You don't have a tour guide and on somebody else's schedule. You're on your own schedule, and that's the benefit of traveling with us. So after the tour, you are free to roam the city and do the things you want to do. Now, after checkout, you're going to board the Via Rail for the overnight trip to Halifax. And so you will spend the night on the train. I will show you the different accommodations on board the train, but Via Rail calls the Northeast route the ocean because you're more on the coast when you're on this particular train. And the route is filled with a variety of different bridges and tunnels. And that way, if you're going through the Maritimes fall foliage programs, you can see the change in the leaves up close and personal. Now, upon arrival into Halifax, you will stay for 3 nights, or excuse me, I'm sorry, 2 nights. And while you're in town, you will do the popular sightseeing tour out to Peggy's Cove, which I have photoed here. It's the most popular attraction in Halifax. So you get to see the lighthouses. You're going to feel like you're in Maine, but you're in Nova Scotia. And you're going to have the most popular seafood restaurants to choose from, and even a wonderful Titanic museum, which is located downtown if you want to go check that out. And as you could probably guess by now, the Titanic sank off the coast of Halifax, and we've brought back several artifacts from the ship itself on its doomed voyage to help kind of paint a picture of what life was like on board the Titanic. I'm told it's really popular. I've not done it myself, but given you have plenty of downtime, that may be something you may want to see. And that will end the Halifax and Quebec City from Montreal package. If you want to make it a round trip journey, we can do that as well and head back down into Toronto or anywhere else where your travels may take you. Now, the next package I want to share with you is our biggest one, the Ultimate Canada Coast to Coast. Now, this is a 17-day itinerary that starts in Halifax and will make its way west, visiting all the major cities, ultimately ending up in Vancouver. So this is one of those packages, if you want to see Canada all at the same time, this would be how to do it. Now, this particular package begins in Halifax, but we do have it starting in Vancouver heading east, if that would be easier for you. So upon arrival into Halifax, you will stay 1 night at a hotel that our package includes. Again, 3, 4, or 5-star rated accommodations. Now, that's more of a pre-night, so allowing you to get into the country. You can do the things you want to do, but the following day, you will take the train overnight to Quebec City. And there you'll do that motor coach tour that I discussed with you earlier, and have a day on the ground to roam the city. The next part of the journey will take you to Montreal, and there you'll do the motor coach city tour again and have plenty of downtime to roam around and do the things you want to do. Now, the second largest rail component of this package is going to Toronto, and that is a full day trip on board the Via Rail, and you'll get wonderful sights of the Northeast corridor of Canada heading into Toronto. There you'll stay 2 nights, and we include a hop-on, hop-off tour. So you can ride the double-decker buses. It'll take you all around the city, stopping at the CN Tower, the city center, and many other wonderful places. And you can literally jump on and jump off anywhere you'd like. And we also include a day trip out to Niagara Falls, and that is definitely the highlight of visiting Toronto. You're so close to the falls, we automatically include it. That will be by Gray Line. They will pick you up at the hotel and drive you out to one of the 7 wonders of the world, and you will spend the afternoon out on the water on the Hornblower cruise, which is pictured here. So you can get up close and personal with the falls. The tour company will provide you with the ponchos and everything you're going to need, so you and your possessions do not get soaking wet. But it is a lot of fun. It's a destination I have yet to visit. So if you've ever been there, tell me what I'm missing here and how I can craft the message. But it's definitely a historic site. And then you'll be driven back to your hotel in Toronto. Now the real fun begins on board the 3-night journey across Canada, which is why most people want to visit Canada for this reason alone. Going across Canada by train is one of the most beautiful rail routes anywhere in the world. You will travel through Saskatoon, Manitoba, before arriving into the Alberta province, stopping in Jasper. So you have 3 nights on board the train. So plenty of things to do on the train. I'll save all of that for later in the presentation, but that's a great opportunity for you to get some rest and relaxation as you travel halfway across country into Jasper. So upon arrival, you will stay 1 night. You'll get off the train in Jasper and make your way to your hotel. Now, this is a Canadian city that I have visited. It's definitely a mountaintop town, and it's not that large. So getting to the hotel is really easy. All you got to do is get off the train, grab your luggage, make your way through the terminal right to the parking lot, and there will be all kinds of taxis. They know the area well, so you just need to tell them the hotel name, and they'll zip you right over there and get yourself checked in for the night. But then I would go out and explore the city, because you've been on a train for a few days. You may be itching to stretch your legs out. Now, Jasper is a wonderful town to walk around in. That's one of my main hobbies, is going on long walks with my wife, or even just by myself half the time. And Jasper was no exception to that, with the beautiful scenery around. I found the locals to be very friendly people, very encouraging of visiting different parts of the city and getting restaurant recommendations, that kind of a thing. So don't be intimidated to ask locals about what's popular, what's not, and so forth. Anyway, enough about that. But the following day, you're going to head down into Lake Louise and Banff. Now, the Via Rail does not run service from Jasper south into the heart of the Canadian Rockies. So that will be by transfer that we include in our package. So you're not going to have to rent a car or do anything like that. I suppose if you wanted to, you could, but not necessary when traveling with us. So you're going to you're going to get on that transfer, and they're going to drive you south into Banff. And along the way, you're going to do an Icefields Parkway Discovery Tour. So you're going to get to see an ice glacier up close and personal, just to kind of get off the road for a little while. It's a few hours drive heading into the Banff area. And then, of course, you will stop at the historic Lake Louise, which is photoed here on the right. And we do not include an overnight stay there at Lake Louise, but if you'd like to, let us know, because we have the Fairmont Hotel right on the water. We can get you a lake view room, and you can spend some time there at the lake if you'd like. But this journey will then continue into Banff, where you'll spend the next 2 nights. Now, Banff is about 30 minutes from Lake Louise, and we do include a lakes, falls, and waterfalls tour out of Banff that will take you to the surrounding areas, Lake Louise being the highlight. And while you're in Banff, you will have the gondola ride, which I have a photo of that here in a few slides, but it's a fully enclosed ski lift that can seat 4 people that will take you to the top of Sulphur Mountain. And up there, you're going to get exciting views of the Canadian Rockies. They've got a great museum up there. If you're into history like I am, I found that to be a lot of fun. There's some hiking trails up there if you want to, if you're into hiking like I am. And this tour is a couple hours in the making. It's fully independent. You're on your own, but you can stay as little or as long as you'd like. And then, of course, the rest of the day, excuse me, the rest of the day is spent roaming around the city and checking out the antique shops and just enjoying a slower pace of life. Now, the following day, that transfer is going to pick you back up and they're going to drive you north to Jasper. You will stay an additional night up there. And then the following day, you're going to get on board the Via Rail train and head overnight all the way to Vancouver, where your package will end with a 2-night stay. We include a hop-on, hop-off tour, as well as a day trip to the Capilano Suspension Bridge, which I'll talk about more in a few minutes in a different package. But that is the ultimate Canada coast to coast. Remember, it starts in Halifax all the way across country into Vancouver, 17 days and a wonderful opportunity for everyone. Now, the next package I want to share with you is what we call a rail experience package. So we get customers that like the idea of what we offer, but they want more time on the train, less time at a hotel. And this is what we came up with. Our Canadian Rail Experience. Starting in Vancouver, we also have this starting in Toronto heading west. So depending on where you live in the States, that may be something for you to consider. But this journey will begin in Vancouver with a 2-night stay at a hotel. We will include a hop-on, hop-off tour while you're in city, but then you will board the Canadian Via Rail for the 4-night journey over to Toronto. So you're going to spend the bulk of your time on the train. Now, the sightseeing is absolutely incredible as you go across country. The scenery changes by the day. Leaving Vancouver early evening, it's more industrial outside of Vancouver. It isn't until the next day that you start to enter the Canadian Rockies and then ultimately making your way east to Toronto. So upon arrival on the East Coast, you'll stay 1 night at a hotel in Toronto. We do include a hop-on, hop-off tour if you'd like to add an additional night and check out Niagara Falls, especially if you've never seen Toronto. I would encourage you to add that on and make the most of your rail trip. But that is the Canadian Rail Experience from Vancouver to Toronto. Now, I do want to talk about customization for a minute now that I've shown you a few different packages here. So if you're going to be in Canada for any reason or you're traveling with us, we can add on any destination, like that rail experience from west to east. If you want to add another city to that, we can certainly do that. That is no problem at all. If you'd like to book a package in reverse order, we can do that, or make it a round trip journey. If the train goes there, then so do we. Now, the next package is another very popular one for the Canadian Rockies, the Canadian Rockies Express with Rocky Mountaineer from Vancouver. Now, Rocky Mountaineer is a privately owned train. It's not a part of Via Rail. That only operates in British Columbia and parts of the Alberta province. It doesn't go across country or anything like that. And so that's why a lot of people go to the Canadian Rockies to do the Rocky Mountaineer. It's a very well promoted, advertised train, and it certainly is luxurious, as you're about to see. So this journey will begin in Vancouver for a 1-night stay. And then the following day, you're going to be on board the Rocky Mountaineer as you make your way through the remote parts of the Rockies into Banff, where you'll stay for 2 nights. And you'll do the mountains, lakes, and waterfalls tour. So you'll get to see Lake Louise on this particular package and the surrounding area. But the heart of this package is the Rocky Mountaineer itself. So here's a great shot of the train. Now the route the Rocky Mountaineer takes is remote. There's not a lot of back roads in this particular area of the Rockies, so you're going to see it differently from those that are on either the Via Rail or driving to these destinations. And so it's definitely more remote. And there are two classes of service for Rocky Mountaineer: the Silver Leaf, which is the basic entry point. There you will sit on the lower level part of the train. So right here, you'll have your own panoramic windows to view. Your meals and beverages are included in your reservation. But if you upgrade to the Gold Leaf, you get a few more amenities, like sitting in the double deckers up top, and you'll get the full panoramic glass windows, which are here. And so you can see out both sides of the train a little bit better. Also, your meals are included as well as your beverages. So you get complimentary cocktails, wine and beer, those sorts of things. While you're on board the luxurious Rocky Mountaineer, you'll have breakfast and lunch as well that are chef prepared, made fresh with a variety of different menu options. And this train will take you all the way into Banff for your 2-night stay. From there, after 2 nights in Banff, we do include a shuttle transfer into Calgary if you want to, fly home or wherever else your travels may take you next. So that's the Rocky Mountaineer Express coming out of Vancouver. Now the next package is going to mimic the Cross Canada that started in Halifax, but this one's a little bit shorter, the Ultimate Canada and Rockies Westbound. And we developed this package because we had a lot of customers like the idea of starting in Halifax and ending in Vancouver, but 17 days was a little too much. So we were making a lot of modifications to the package, and this is what we were doing most of the time, starting in Toronto and making their way west through the Canadian Rockies. So I am going to go a little faster through this package since we've talked so much about these destinations already, but there's a few key points I want to bring out. For starters, when you arrive into Jasper, you're going to stay a total of 3 nights in Jasper, 2 upon arrival and then 1 post night after you visit Banff. So once you arrive into Jasper, you'll be there for 2 nights because we include a day trip out to Jasper National Park. And that will include round-trip transportation from your hotel. So you'll spend all day going through the national park. Here's a few photos from our team members that were there last summer, and it's one of the most beautiful national parks anywhere in the world. Canada is nearly pollution-free in a lot of ways, especially in the Rockies. And so you're going to get a great opportunity to see a lot of wildlife in their natural habitat, as well as some wonderful sightseeing activities on these viewing platforms, as well as the sightseeing tour of the Icefields Parkway in between Jasper and Banff. So after your full day of sightseeing of the national park, you will be driven down into Banff for a 2-night stay. You'll still get to do the waterfalls, mountain peaks tour and see Lake Louise and all of that. And then you'll head back up into Jasper for your 3rd night. And then the following day, you're going to be back on board the Via Rail for your overnight journey into Vancouver. And I forgot to mention, you do a day trip out to Niagara Falls starting in Toronto at the starts. But the Capilano Suspension Bridge is a lot of fun. That's about 30 minutes outside Vancouver. And all you would need to do is go down to the harbor, sort of the main area of Vancouver. And there, the Gray Line buses are waiting for you. They're going to drive you out to the suspension bridge, where you'll be about a quarter of a mile up in the sky on a bridge. Don't worry, it's sturdy. And you'll get great views of the mountain terrain. And one of the things that I remember most about this particular moment is all the bald eagles you get to see. And, we all know the bald eagle. It's such an iconic symbol for Americans. But living in the States my whole life, I've never seen a bald eagle until I went to Vancouver 4 years ago. And they are plentiful in this part of Canada. So definitely bring those binoculars. You won't want to miss that. They're such beautiful birds. And of course, the mountain terrain is it's a rough terrain, but it's a beautiful scenery. So you get to do a little bit more of sightseeing outside the major city. And that will complete your Ultimate Canada westbound from Toronto. Alrighty, the last package I want to share with you today is called the Grand Circle of the Canadian Rockies. Now, this is another one of those West Coast packages, But the beautiful thing about this one is you will experience not only the Rocky Mountaineer, but the overnight train ride from Jasper to Vancouver. So you're going to get the best of both rail worlds, which is why this package is so popular. We often book this package in conjunction with an Alaska cruise. Now, we don't book cruises directly, but we find a lot of our customers are either finishing a cruise that ends in Vancouver, or that's where they're starting from to head to Alaska, but they'd like to see the Canadian Rockies and make a little pre or post trip out of it. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, this package will begin with 2 nights in Vancouver with sightseeing trips of hop on hop off tour. If you'd like to travel to Victoria and see the Bouchard Gardens, we can arrange that for you as well. But it'll be all aboard the Rocky Mountaineer going into Banff for a 2-night stay. And then while you're in Banff, you'll do the famous gondola ride. And I believe I have a photo of that. Yep, here it is. Here's the Banff gondola ride to the top of Sulphur Mountains. It's about a 30-minute trip up and down, and great opportunities to sightsee as well as do some hiking. And then, of course, you'll stop over at Lake Louise, and there you'll be there for 1 night. So we do include the Fairmont Hotel for you guys. We often book the Lakeview rooms, obviously, and then you'll do a popular sightseeing tour on the water itself, which is a lot of fun. But there are hiking trails and a lot of outdoor activities you can do around the lake area. But it's a beautiful R&R relaxation spot as well. You will then head up into Jasper by private transfer, and they'll drop you off at your hotel in Jasper. There you'll be there for the night, and then waiting for the Via Rail to take you back to Vancouver, which is where you will sleep on board the train, getting the best of both rail worlds, and then end in Vancouver for 1 additional night. And we call that the Grand Circle. And so that is a wonderful package, definitely our #1 seller. All right, moving on here. Catch my breath for a second. But the next part of my presentation is going to be about life on board the train itself. We get a lot of questions about this, the different accommodations, what's involved, and I'm going to take you through every element of that. Okay, so on board the train, you have 4 different accommodations to choose from. The first of which would be the economy coach seating. Now, I know that can have a negative connotation, especially if you're thinking about an airline right now, but trust me, traveling in economy coach seating on a train is much different than traveling coach on an airplane. For starters, the seat is 50% larger than a first class seat on a plane. And so you're going to have a lot of room already right there in your chair. The chairs come equipped with a footrest, which will allow you to recline back at a 45-degree angle. And Via Rail will provide you pillows and blankets, which is obviously something most airlines don't do anymore. And now, as you can see in the picture here, there is no middle seat on board the Via Rail. Now, as we start to enter the post-COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of the transportation companies, the airline industry are trying to figure out what they're going to do to maintain passenger safety while traveling. And one thing the airlines are considering in a lot of ways is removing the middle seat, which I know will make a lot of customers happy because you'll have a little bit more room and you won't be so close to the fellow passengers. Yes, the only downfall of that is you can expect the pricing to go higher. But anyway, but on the Via Rail, that's always been the case. There's never been a middle seat, so that you're getting the natural train ride. And the benefit of coach is not only is it affordable, but you can also roam the train. You're not stuck in your seat the whole time like you are on an airplane. So you can get up out of your seat at any time. You can head over to the variety of the different observation cars. You can head over to the game room, the snack car. You have a lot of places where you can roam and stretch your legs. And then, of course, your meals are not included on this part of the reservation, so you will need to purchase your food and beverage out of pocket, but those prices are favorable. They're not too expensive, and the food is quite good. You'll have a basic menu to choose from, and you'll be served right there in your seat. So you get a lot of great amenities with economy coach seating, and it is the most economical way to travel on board the train. Now, for those of you that are going to be spending the night on the train, doing an overnight trip, a berth would be something to look at, especially if you're trying to keep the budget within reason. I'm still going to try to talk you into a berth because the amenities are fourfold and the price differential between economy and berth is not that much. I don't have a base offhand. I don't recall from my booking days, but I don't remember it being terribly expensive. But you're going to get a lot of great amenities. First of all, the train car is going to be a little bit more private. And so you're going to have a lot more room to roam. You'll have access to your very own bed. So this is all in an open seating arrangement, and meaning that there's no walls. It's not a hotel room per se, but your chairs will convert to a bottom bunk, and the top bunk will then come out of the wall, and the draperies will close, and you can Velcro them together, and you'll have a lot of privacy on board the train. Now, the benefit of not only having your own bed with this reservation is your meals are included. So you're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the in the dining car, and you'll also have access to a shower, which is golden for any overnight train travel. And so you have a lot of great amenities with a berth, but that's not all. The next additional upgrade is to a cabin. And Via Rail offers a cabin for one as well as a cabin for two. For the sake of time, I'm going to go right to cabin for two here, but both the amenities are the same. You'll have day chairs, your own viewing window, bathroom and vanity are inside the cabin, as well as two spacious bunk beds for sleeping. Now, I took the photo on the right on my Via Rail trip a few years ago, and I was quite impressed with the quality of the bedding. When I'm at home, I typically don't sleep that much. I get maybe 3 or 4 hours a night on a good day. And but on board the train, I was very comfortable the entire time. And the mattresses are very thick pillows. There's an easy step ladder to get into the top bunk. Not photoed here is a safety net that you can clamp in to the top bunk there. So for obvious reasons, especially during the midnight hours. And the shower is just a few steps down the hall. So that's the one piece that's not in the room, is the shower accommodations. Via Rail did that on purpose so they can fit a few more cabins on board the train. Now, you'll have your very own room car attendant. So basically like a flight attendant, in other words, that will arrange the rooms and get the beds ready at nighttime and stow them away in the morning. And they will also make your meal reservations in the dining car for you, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Just real quickly here, have any of you ever been on the Via Rail and done the cabins before and overnight on the train? Okay, a couple of no's are coming in here. One yes. Okay, excellent. Very good. One person saying, I did this back in the 1990s. Okay, great. Well, thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it. All righty. Okay, so moving on here. The last upgrade on board the train is of the highest value, and that is called the Prestige class. This is definitely a 5-star product, but if you're going to spend 3 or 4 days on the train going across country, this is the accommodation to do it in. Now, the Prestige cabins are found at the very tail end of the train in their own private cars. Unless you have a reservation for a Prestige cabin, you will not be allowed in this part of the train. Now, this is all inclusive. So for starters, the cabin itself is 50% larger than a cabin for two. It'll come equipped with a standard queen bed. Your own bathroom and shower will be inside the cabin for complete and total privacy. You'll have your own mini bar inside your room, as well as your own bar and lounge area and observation car. So a lot of great amenities on board the Prestige class. The one thing to consider with this upgrade is you have to be on the train for a minimum of 2 nights going in one direction in order to qualify to get the Prestige class. So if you're traveling from Vancouver to Jasper, which is only 1 night on the train, this class of service will not be available to you. So 2 nights or more. But with your own observation car, your own bar and lounge area, you'll have a lot of great amenities, and this is definitely a wonderful accommodation. So those are the accommodations you have to choose from, and dining on board the train is definitely a unique experience. And the onboard restaurant comes with chefs that will make each meal fresh for you, and they're able to accommodate most nutritional needs. So breakfast could be anything from, it depends on really where the train is. The menu changes by the day, depending on where it's at. So you'll get to take in and experience the local cuisine options. But breakfast could be anything from eggs Benedict to pancakes, French toast, things like that. Lunch could be anything from BLT sandwiches to soup and salad options. And dinner is a lot more formal with filet mignon usually on the menu, or lamb chops, pork chops, which is what's photoed here, with baked potatoes, or vegetables, things like that, dinner rolls, and a bit more formal, catch of the day often, or rotisserie chicken. So you have a lot of different options on board the train. They have a fabulous dessert menu. If you have a sweet tooth like me, you're definitely going to be looking out for that. But of course, the biggest takeaway is sharing a meal with complete and total strangers, because Via Rail will seat 4 people to a table. And if you're traveling with your spouse, you're likely to sit with another couple you've never met before. And it's kind of a unique experience to discuss your train travels and learn about theirs as well. So that is the onboard restaurant, which they call the dining car. So as we wind down the presentation here, why take the train? Well, I think the picture does justice here. Certainly nothing wrong with motor coach travel, but it is cramped and a little bit more structured. On board the train, it's your own accommodations, a lot of room to roam. It is luxurious, scenic, the ability to have some wonderful meals and watch the world go by. So with that, I'm kind of curious which destinations you guys are currently interested right now. I know things are upside down in our country, and I do know that this pandemic will eventually come to pass, but are you guys considering Canada right now, anytime this year, maybe next year, or anywhere else in the world? Where are you guys looking to go? Okay, a lot of you guys are saying Alaska, the Canadian Rockies. Excellent, very good. Switzerland plus the Rockies. Okay, great. East coast of Canada, wonderful. Italy, okay, wonderful. Want to check out the Canadian Rockies because I want to stay closer to home? Yep, a lot of people are wanting to do that. Excellent, very good. And are you guys considering all this this year or maybe next year? Have you guys kind of figured that out yet? 2021, fall 2020. Okay, great. Very good. And let me ask you guys this real quick. I'm sure you're all following the news as much as everybody else. Do you guys have any concerns? I mean, clearly for your safety, I'm not getting at that, but are you guys concerned about transportation methods and what people are going to be doing to ensure safety? Have you guys thought on that, or are you guys willing to travel regardless of all that? Anything specific on that? Train cleanliness, okay, yeah, that's definitely something to think about. I do know the Via Rail and the Amtrak are going to be providing a lot of hand sanitizer, especially as they roll out their newer policies, and the cleanliness of the trains are going to be maintained even more. I do know that for certain, being on those conference calls. Okay, very good. Well, I appreciate your feedback on that here, and a lot of great questions are in here, guys, and I'm going to get to those in just a few more minutes. Here are some customer testimonials for you. Everybody kind of knows what that involves, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But here, if you go to our website, railbookers.com, under trip planning, there's a lot of good information on there. Everything from the onboard experience to check-in times, luggage guidelines, it's all going to be there. Links to the rail operators' main websites if you want to check that out, and much more. Now, one thing about our organization is we are an award-winning tour operator, being the largest rail provider in the world. We brought home several travel awards last year, and we've also been featured on Wheel of Fortune, USA Today, as well as Forbes. And so, there's a lot of press out there about us right now with our customer service, things like that. And why travelers love Railbookers? Well, the biggest one has always been the bucket list experiences. We're able to offer what most people want to do, and I'll just leave it at that. As no matter what you want to do by rail, Railbookers or Amtrak Vacations can take you there. Again, here's our maximum flexibility offer. So for any new reservations you make running through the end of May, you can cancel or rebook up until 5 days before departure. We want to make this easy for everybody because we do know this pandemic is evolving and it changes on a day-to-day basis. So we want to make this simple for you. You have up until 5 days before departure to cancel or rebook, and there will be no fees involved with that. You'll get a travel voucher if you decide to completely cancel. That'll be valid for 2 years, and you can use it at any time. So when you're ready, we're ready. We've been doing all kinds of webinars on a weekly basis, rolling out our new packages and talking to people about what we do. So when you're ready to go, then so are we. Don't forget to download the handouts there. And I am now ready to answer your questions. So give me a moment to browse those. Stephanie asked us about the correct handouts. Well, I see them on my end. I'm not sure what the issue is there, but we'll include the handouts when we send out the recording to you all. So I'll have marketing take care of that for you. Very good. Okay, we have a question here from Lisa. How does it work for trips that combine the US and Canada? Lisa, can you clarify your question for me? Are you referring to the logistics? Maybe provide me a little bit more clarification. I think I know what you're asking, but I just want to be certain. I'll continue on here. So Bonnie has a reservation with us right now. Well, thank you for your business, Bonnie. We appreciate that. I was reading your question offhand just to myself here. So if you have a reservation for July, did I read that right? Yes. So you have up until 5 days before departure to make up your mind whether you want to cancel or rebook. There will be no cancellation fees or rebooking fees involved with that. So all you got to do is let us know. Give us a call at the number below, and our guest relations team will assist you accordingly. If you decide to cancel completely, you'll get a future travel voucher that is good for 24 months. I hope that helps. Okay, Lisa is providing an update on the question and example, spending the day in Seattle after the Grand Circle. Okay, beautiful. Yes, that is definitely doable. So Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal are 3 Canadian cities that Amtrak runs service to and from. So if you arrive into Vancouver after that Grand Circle and you want to head down to Seattle for a night or two, the Amtrak will take you there. It's about a 4-hour train ride. And since we book both trains, we can add that to your reservation. That is no problem at all. I hope that helps. Let's see here. Jennifer is with us today asking us, where'd her question go? How do we make reservations, she says. Okay, reservations are real easy. All we need is a $250 deposit per person, and that will reserve your time slot, and final payment will be due 90 days before departure. So if you're booking for the fall or next spring, whatever the case may be, you can put yourself on your own payment plan if you'd like. You can call us on a weekly or monthly basis, pay off as little or as much as you'd like, but whatever the balance is due at 90 days will automatically come off the credit card. Absolutely. Okay, Bonnie said she deposited. The final payment is not due until July. Okay, good stuff there, Bonnie. Same rule applies. You have up until 5 days before departure to make up your mind. So if you were to provide a final payment because you are confident that you're going to do this trip, but then the circumstances change, no problem at all. You'll get a full future travel credit that will include the total cost of your trip, including trip protection if you took that with us, and you can forward that into another travel day anywhere in the 2-year period. So I hope that helps here. All right, very good. Well, those are all the questions that have come in so far. I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss anything here. I'm gonna keep this up for just a moment here. But I do want to thank you guys all for taking the time this evening to watch this presentation. I hope this was helpful. Let me ask you one more question before we log off tonight. Did you guys get out of this presentation with what you were hoping to gain? And Bonnie's asking, what if I decide to cancel prior to final payment? No problem. You'll get a future travel voucher that is good for 24 months. That your deposit could be forwarded to your next travel dates. Very good. Thank you, Tanya. Or is it Tangi? I'm not certain how to pronounce your name. I apologize, but I'm glad you found this helpful. Can I ask what was your biggest takeaway about today? Some of you guys are saying that we can book so far in advance and that where the train goes, your flexibility, very good. You're welcome, Bonnie. Sorry there, it took me a moment to get on board with what you were asking me. These question boxes are kind of small and it jumbles everything together. Oh, great. I'm glad, Tanji, that you enjoyed the Via Rail options. Very good. It's a beautiful train. It's also, being a national train operator for the country, it's very, very luxurious in that sense. It's one of the things I appreciated most about the train. Very good. Well, guys, I'm just about out of time now. This webinar is being recorded. We're going to get it sent out to all of you guys probably sometime tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that if you'd like to have that handy for your records. But I appreciate you taking the time. Hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and looking forward to hearing from you all very soon. Anything else? Okay. Well, you have yourself a train-tastic evening, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Take care.